Hi, welcome. Welcome, welcome. No, I'm not lost. I'm going to just throw out some invites, and if you hop on, you hop on. It would be great to have some listeners, because what I'm going to be talking about is super duper important. Okay. All right. So let me get situated over here. Make sure everything is okay. I'm doing a live. Put it in the fridge.
I already did.
Thank you. All right. Bubby, I need you to behave, please. All right, so I'm doing this over here on my Facebook feed, my personal page, instead of our community. And there's a reason why I'm doing our Sunday sit down here and not there. This evening, I decided that I wanted to talk about awareness. I strive every single day, and if you are someone who follows my Facebook page or any of my platforms, will see how dedicated I am to get awareness out about a disease that I've been living with now for almost 12 years. And so it's super important that we talk about awareness, we talk about wanting to get support from our loved ones, or needing support from our loved ones. Not that we necessarily want it, but there are moments in life where we need it. And we have a community called Our Journey. It is a private community. And it's a private community. And so a lot of our MCCs, a lot of our Sunday sit downs are done in private. Sometimes I will share our Sunday sit downs either here or on my YouTube channel, which the link for that is provided for you. Because I want to get awareness out. This is a horrible disease that not only myself, but so many thousands of other amazing people. And I have met a lot. I have met a lot of amazing people over the years since I've done our community. Hello, Miss Christy. How are you, dear? I have met a lot of amazing people. Sadly, though, it had to be this way. I wish it could have been differently, but unfortunately, it had to be this way. So Christy, who's in the comments, she actually is my moderator for our community. She's an amazing person as well. Her and I have formed quite the friendship, and we are there for each other. We try to be as hands-on for our community as much as possible. But you have to understand, we both live with it. She also lives with it. She's had it longer than I have. But in our community, it's not who's had it longer and who has it worse. We're there for each other. There's no... Sorry, I'm shutting and I keep feeling hair on me. This isn't a competition of who's had it longer or who's worse off than the next. That's not what we do in our community. Our community is a place to grow and form friendships. It's a place to share our story, our journey. It's a place to find support. Christy and I are very much on the same page when it comes to getting the awareness out. I mentioned the community, but it's a private community. I don't do lives hardly ever here on my page. They're usually, the only place I actually do lives is in our community. So to do a live here, I'm not going to lie, it's a bit scary because I am not in the comfort of my community. I am here being vulnerable to all you on my Facebook page. I want to go ahead. I don't know if this will let me make it public while I'm up here. Let me see if it will. It will not. So I will have to, I'll have to change the privacy settings when I'm done. But anyway, so doing a live here, it's a bit vulnerable. It's a bit nerve-wracking because this sort of thing is usually done in our community, like I said. However, Christy and I are on the same page when it comes to getting the awareness out. We cannot expect to get awareness out. We cannot expect to get support if we continuously do it within the privacy of our community. Our warriors have really come around the last, I think we've had the community now for about 5 years. And I will tell you, they're a great bunch of people. Some of them are still very scared to share their story publicly because of the shunning and the eye rolling and the criticism and the talking behind the back and the whispers and the points and the pointing and the whispering and the eye rolling, all that stuff. That's why they prefer to share it within the community where it's private. And I'm trying to get them to understand how important it is to talk publicly about it. And some of them have come around tremendously amazing, and they are starting to share their story more publicly. They're starting to use their voice. They're not letting anybody shun them. They're not letting anybody silence them, because we didn't ask for this. Sorry, my back's itchy. We didn't ask for this. We're not doing this on purpose to create a burden for our loved ones and our family and friends. We're not doing this on purpose to, this is my favorite one, and I say this with sarcasm, the spotlight. No one who's disabled wants a spotlight. That's the furthest thing that we want. So no, it's not attention seeking. It's not being dramatic. It's not being a crybaby. It's none of that. I will tell you, thank you, Christy. I will tell you that the past 11 years, going on 12 years of my life has been hell on earth. And I don't say that lightly. Like I said, mentioned Christy, she is my moderator for our community. Her and I, we're always checking on each other. We're always there for one another. We try to be there for our community as much as possible. Again, we both live with this disease. And like I said, her and I are on the same page with getting it out there. We want people to know about it. We want more education done on it. We want to be able to go into any medical facility, whether it's the dentist, the eye doctor, the foot doctor, the whatever. And when we write on that list of medications and why you take the medications and do you have any health problems that we should be aware of, when we write all that information down, we want that doctor, that medical facility to know what it is we're talking about. And the only way that's going to happen is if we keep bringing awareness, sharing our story, talking to anyone that will listen and people that don't listen. I have had a lot of eye rolls. I have had a lot of negative. I have had a lot of BS. But I will not let that stop me, because this is my life's purpose. This is what I was supposed to be doing with my disability. Not every life calling is a blessing. Not every life calling is something that you wake up every morning looking forward to. They're just not. You don't know what card you're going to be dealt. You don't know what path is your path until you're on it. You don't understand what it is you're supposed to do until sometimes it takes God whacking us in the head and going, hello, are you listening? Because that's what he did to me. I've had people in my life, strangers, people that, acquaintances, often say to me, had I ever thought about being a motivational speaker? And I said, absolutely not. I worked retail and management for over 25 years. Being a motivational speaker, I guess I had been doing that my whole life, but it wasn't my focus point of my career. My focus point of my career was public relations. And I formed a lot of great bonds with customers. I had customers that would come in and ask for me. I had a lot of great relationships with customers, and they would sit there and talk my ear off for 20, 30 minutes. And I was just there. I listened. And I think that's why they always wanted me to wait on them or wanted my help with something. The first time that was ever said to me, oh gosh, I was in my early 20s. And I went into the Metro store to pay my phone bill. And there was a man there. And I share this story as often as I can because it's so prominent and it sticks out so, and it's so vivid because this is the first time it was ever said to me. And so we're standing in line, and he was ahead of us, and he was being waited on. He was paying his bill and this, that, and the other. And he started a conversation with the cashier, and he made a comment, and he lifted his pant leg. Well, he was on house arrest. He was not a very good boy. And I looked down, and I just kind of shook my head and turned away, and he goes, well, it is what it is. And I kind of looked at him and I go, it is what it is. And he just said, yeah, and shrugged his shoulders. And he was probably, I'm going to say anywhere from 5 to 10 years older than me. So that would have put him roughly in his 30s to mid 30s. And I looked at him and I go, do you like that bracelet? And he just looked at me. And I think I shocked him at first because, he was just kind of talking to me and the cashier at the same time, just kind of, he included us in his conversation. And I said, do you like that bracelet? And he said, well, no one likes to be on house arrest. And I said, so why do you have it? What did you do? I said, you don't have to tell me. I said, but I'm going to assume that it was nothing good. And he's like, no, he goes, and then he just kind of opened up and he's like, I've been in trouble most of my life. And he was rambling off. And I was just standing there, and I was not by no means judging the man. I try not to judge anybody because none of us are perfect. And he just went on with his life story and was telling me little bits of what he had done and, the dysfunctional family he had grown up in and what he had witnessed as a child. And, I guess he started doing B&Es when he was very young, and then that led to drugs, and then it led to bigger things that he was doing. And I just looked at him and I said, are you happy with that life? And he says, no. I said, so why don't you change it? And he just kind of looked at me, and I said, you can make your life better. I said, if you do not want to be on house arrest, if you do not want someone telling you what time you have to go to bed, and you don't like that little pretty ankle bracelet they gave you, you can change it. Oh, well, it's my life. It's what I know. It's the surroundings I grew up in. I said, so? Do you think that I walk on water and I was never introduced or around that type of setting? I said, I'm not going to get into my life because we'd be here all day. I said, but you have the power to change that. You have the power to make your life better. And only you can do that. If you don't like the ankle bracelet, you don't like someone telling you when you have to go to bed, you want to live your life a free man, fully free, and not under the watchful eye of our government, I said, you are the only one that can change that. And he just looked at me, you know, I said a few other things to him, and he got ready to leave, and he turns around and he held out his hand, and I shook his hand, and he says, you know what? He goes, you should be a motivational speaker. He goes, I don't know you. He goes, I'm just here paying my phone bill, and you walk in. He goes, and you are the first one that told me and didn't sugarcoat it. He goes, I think I'm going to take your advice. And I looked at him and I said, well, I hope you do. I said, I wish you the best. And I said, I hope and pray that better days are ahead of you, and that you can get your head up out of water, and you can stay there and do right and make a legal and right way for yourself for your future. And I said, I wish you the very best. He was the first person that ever told me that. And when he said it to me, I was like, no, I've never thought of that. But it just sticks out so much because he was the first one, and I've had others. But anyway, I'm getting off track. What I want to talk to you guys about this evening is about November, which is our awareness month for CRPS. And if you don't know what CRPS is, it's complex regional pain syndrome. That is what I live with. That is what Christy lives with, and so many other amazing people that I've met over the years. I wish I had met them under different circumstances, but again, we don't get to choose sometimes our life purpose and what we're meant to do with the situation. And so I decided about 5 years ago that, and with, you know, this wasn't something that I just said, okay, I'm just going to make a group. It wasn't like that, because like I said, this is something that is not, this, we are sharing our personal life with you. This is personal stuff. This is our life that we are sharing. And to share it openly is very scary. When I created the group 5 years ago, it was public in the beginning. And I had a lot of our warriors come to me and say, you know, I would really share more if we were private. I understand feeling scared and vulnerable, because I was that person that got eye rolls, name calls, that got told I was making more than what it was, this, that, and the other. I was that person. So I understand. However, there comes a point where you have to ignore the nonsense, ignore the negativity, and share to make a difference. If you want support and if you want awareness about CRPS, you have to be willing to share your story. Otherwise, guess what? We're going to be right where we are right now in the next 100 years or so. So I don't normally do this here, but seeing that November is Awareness Month for CRPS, formerly known as RSD. Now, when Christy talks, she relates to it as CRPS, but she also relates to it more so as RSD, because that is what it was called when she was diagnosed with it over 20 years ago. And so it's had several different names over the years. For some reason, Christy, it is not showing me that you're even here, dear. Yeah, see, Christy and I, we are on the same page. We are on the same page with that. We totally, sorry, uncontrolled body temperature is one of them. I'm starting to catch on fire. It's amazing that we have warriors that want to share within our community, and they want to find that support within our community. However, like I said, there comes a time when you have to be willing. If you want change and you want support and you want awareness, and we want to be able to, like I said in the beginning, we want to be able to walk in to a facility to receive medical treatment, and that doctor know what we're talking about, or that nurse know what we're talking about, or that receptionist know what we're talking about. Instead of sitting there wasting 20 to 30 minutes of our precious time explaining it again to a doctor. I'm sorry, I didn't go to college. I didn't go to medical school. But I know more about this disease than most doctors do. There's really something wrong with that picture, don't you think? And that is the reason why the reason why it is what it is because we have ugly in the world. And we have people who want to bully someone different, regardless of what that disability is, okay? But we have people out there that bully a disability, bully someone because they have something that they don't have control of, because they have something that they didn't ask for. And because of that bullying, people do this. They don't share. They don't talk about it. They suffer in silence. They cry behind closed doors. You know how many times I've taken a shower and just cried in my shower because the world was too ugly for me that day? And I know I'm not the only one. I'm very passionate about this. I've been accused of being too passionate about it. There's no such thing. I live with it. So I'm very passionate about it. I'm very passionate about my warriors. I'm very concerned for my warriors because I know what they're going through. And 5 years ago, when I made the decision to create a community, I was petrified. But I didn't come to that decision lightly or easily. I thought about it. I'd knocked it around, the idea around here and there. I spoke with my therapist, and I'm not ashamed to say I have a therapist. And you know what? She's like my bestie. She is the only person other than Christy I talk to. And know that I'm not going to be judged. Know that I'm going to be believed. And I don't know how I got through the years without her. I look forward to our sessions. She has taught me so much about myself. And I'm still learning. And I will continue to learn. I thrive. I want to learn. I want to understand. I want to make a difference. And I want to be a good person. I'm not perfect. I will never be perfect. So for those that have claimed I think I am, wake up call. I do not. But I know who I am. And I know that I strive every day to be a good person. But my therapist and I brought the idea up to her during one of our sessions one day. And she said, I think that would be an amazing idea. I think that would be a great idea. And I think you should do it. She said, I'm not going to tell you to do it, but I think that you should do it. It wasn't another 6 months after that conversation. I was sitting in my living room one day and I was scrolling through Facebook and I'm like, you know what? No. I've thought it through and I've thought it through and I've thought it through. It's either now or never. And I ripped off the Band-Aid and I got to creating a Facebook page. In the beginning, it was public. And I was petrified. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know the outcome. I didn't know how it was going to be received. And I woke up the next morning to over 2,000 people in the community. That was just overnight. And I'm like, oh my God. Now, mind you, over the years, that number has changed because, well, for one reason or another, I won't get into that with you here. Not now anyway. And like I said, warriors kept coming to me. My moderator at the time, before she became my admin, came to me and she said, I would share more if we were private. Once you create a public group, and maybe you're a person that just has a page and you don't really have other platforms in the social media world, but with a private, because I've had some say, let's make it public. Well, there's a problem with that. When you're public and you go private, you can't go back public. So once you change it, it has to stay that way forever. Just like if I was to have created it private, it would have stayed private. But the reason I created public first was because I wanted people to be able to find it, and I felt being a public community, it would people could find it easier. But anyway, so we do have the private community, and we have a lot of amazing warriors in there. Our community is a mixed community, and what I mean by that is it is supporters and warriors. And I made it that way because I want people to learn. I have had so many, and it breaks my heart every time I even think about it. We had so many warriors would message me and say, my loved one doesn't believe me. They say that I'm making too much of an owie, that I'm being too dramatic. They don't support me at all in this. And that is why I have it a mixed community for loved ones and for warriors. My theory is when you get enough people that share the same disability, their loved ones, their supporters, their friends and family are going to have to start realizing, okay, I am the one being cruel. I am trying to be nice this evening. I'm the one being cruel. I'm the one not believing my loved one when they are in pain, when they are suffering in silence, when they're scared, when they don't know what to do. I'm the one that needs to open my eyes, realize what's going on, and help my loved one get through this disability. And so that is why we are a mixed community. We are a mixed community for both, because I want others to realize this is real. And, you know, there's so much that goes with this. I'm not going to get into all of the symptoms. I'm not going to get into all that. I just wanted to come up here this evening because, like I said, November is Awareness Month for CRPS. Christy and I are anyone that is now, and let me backtrack for a second. We do have a lot more warriors that are finally coming forward and sharing more and sharing their story, sharing what they're going through. There are, you know, a lot of them never even put it on their Facebook page before. And they are sharing more posts on Facebook. They're sharing more, you know, some of them have TikTok. I don't do TikTok, guys. I'm just saying. But we have warriors that do. They share stuff on TikTok. They share stuff on Instagram. And so they are sharing more. And I love that, because in the beginning, none of them were. It was very few. And they didn't, not only were they not wanting to share verbally, but they didn't even want to put a post about it on their Facebook, because they didn't want people to be cruel. When you're living with a disability, guys, I will address a few things when it comes to symptoms. And if you have a loved one that is suffering with this, you need to get on that same track with them. You need to listen to them. You need to recognize their symptoms. You need to recognize what they're going through. You need to recognize, hello, Miss Dawn, what they're dealing with every day. Because if you don't, you are never going to have a relationship with that person again. Because I will tell you this, and there's been times where I've been accused of not reaching out, ignoring people, not caring about people, and all of that is false. Grant you, there are some people that I would like to forget, but unfortunately, I'm not that type of person. If I forget you, it's not on purpose. Okay? And what I mean by that is, with CRPS, and for you that don't know what CRPS is, it's complex regional pain syndrome. Miss Dawn is also another amazing warrior of ours. I love her. With CRPS comes brain fog. And I know some of you may watch the replay later and go, oh, well, she's rambling off stuff I deal with all the time. Please do not, and these beautiful ladies here can agree, do not compare our symptoms to your healthy body, everyday wear and tear and tired out, because we're not the same. Okay? Not even close. We get brain fog. We have memory problems. We have long-term memory, short-term memory. We can be talking and completely forget what the word is that we are trying to say. We can be talking and forget how to pronounce a word. And then we have people who want to correct us. Please don't do that. We feel dumb enough. Don't correct us. Okay? Just go with the flow. We can be talking and know what the word is, but cannot pronounce it. We know what it is. It's a word we use all the time, but to pronounce it, whole other ballgame. There's times where we can be having a conversation and our sentence will come out backwards and flipped around and all sideways. To the point where that's happened to me a lot, and it's so bad where it's like, no, rewind. That's not what I meant to say. So, you know, there's a lot that goes on in our body 24/7. CRPS doesn't have a bedtime. It doesn't take vacation. It doesn't do holiday. So our body is in constant battle with itself every single day. But if you sat down and you asked questions and really got to know your warrior, you would understand that, and you would be able to recognize when something is happening, instead of just automatically assuming we don't care or we don't want to be bothered. We really need to get awareness out. And next month is, like I was saying earlier, we focus on Awareness 365. That is my slogan. It's been my slogan since day one. Awareness 365. However, we've been recognized a little bit, and correct me if I'm wrong, Christy, but wasn't it 1997 or was it in the 2000s where we were, and Dawn may even know, where we were designated the month of November? I can't remember. I think it was 2017, wasn't it? So it wasn't even in the 90s. It was like 2017, I think it is, that we were designated the month of November. Miss Dawn says she hates the brain fog and memory loss. Yeah, it's very frustrating. Very frustrating. You know, it's all the time. And, you know, I'm always telling my warriors to be picture happy and to take pictures when they're having flares up, because our body changes all the time. So to take those pictures to show their doctors. But I'm also saying be picture happy, because there's so much that I don't remember of my life unless I see a picture, and then it kind of triggers something. It's like, oh yeah. I will tell you this. My daughter and I went to Graceland. It's I think it's 2017. I want to look that up, but I know it's in the 2000s. Yeah. My daughter and I went to Graceland in 2022, or was it 2023? I think it was 2023. Or maybe it was, I don't, it was either 2022 or see it. And that's like that was like the biggest, most amazing trip of my life. But I was afraid that I was going to forget it. I was petrified because at that point I was having such bad memory loss that I don't know what I did 2 or 3 days ago, let alone last week. This is why I always tell my warriors that it's really important to have a routine. At least for me, I find that having a routine helps my memory a little bit. But it's so important that we get the awareness out there. It's so important that, you know, I talk to my warriors about support all the time. I talk to my warriors about sharing their story. And the real truth is, and I know we all at the end of the day, when we think about it, it boils down to us. Change starts with us, meaning my warriors and myself, our community. Because if we're not sharing, we're not getting the awareness out there. My biggest thing too is I talk a lot about asking questions. And I've had warriors say to me, well, maybe they don't know what to ask. Maybe they feel dumb asking. First of all, there are no dumb questions. Okay, let's get that straight right now. Secondly, that's an excuse. What do you mean they don't know what to ask? If they see that you are having an issue with something, you ask about it. I don't understand that theory. When my dad was passing away, my dad passed away in 2005 due to complications from RA, rheumatoid arthritis. I knew nothing about RA, but I asked questions. I was constantly asking my stepmother questions. I was constantly asking the doctors questions because I wanted to know what I could do to support my dad and to help my dad because I was by his bedside a lot. And so I wanted to be informed. I was asking questions. That's the only way I was going to learn and know is if I asked questions. So the only way you're going to learn and understand and know what your loved one is going through that is living with CRPS is to ask questions. Asking questions also is getting awareness out. That is another form of awareness. We are going to be painting the globe orange come November. So if you see a lot of orange up here, you know it's from my warriors because I know that they are going to be wearing their orange. They're going to be wearing their CRPS t-shirts, and they're going to be promoting awareness all month in November. I tell them to do it all throughout the year. So I'm sure you've seen lots of posts about it. You're welcome. But that is how we get awareness out. We need your help. I don't do this here a lot, but I think I've been talking about it. I've been going back and forth with it. I've even spoke to Christy about it, that I think maybe once a month I will start coming here and doing these awareness posts and talking about it and sharing a little bit about my story. Christy usually is duo with me, so we usually do our Sunday sit-downs together, where you see both of our beautiful faces. She had a busy day with grandbabies, so she's in the comments. I hope she doesn't get too used to being in comments because I miss her being up here with me. So don't get too cozy in the comments, girl. But if you have questions and I don't see them, Miss Christy is in the comments to answer those questions. Guys, we want you to ask questions. We want you to be involved. When we say get awareness out, we're not expecting a miracle, okay? Let me school you a little bit about CRPS and how long it's been around for. CRPS has been here since the early to mid 1800s, okay? So our disease is well over 100 years old. And there's still no cure. We live with an incurable disease. And there is a very scary thought, and I know it's in the back of all of our minds that live with this. CRPS can delete any one of us anytime it wanted to. Yes, everyone is going to pass away one day. That's a guarantee. That's one thing we cannot run or hide from. However, knowing that you live with a disease that could do that to you is petrifying. It's terrifying. There are no words to explain knowing that you are living with something that is in battle with your body every day already, and that could delete you any moment it wanted to, without warning. And that's scary to me. I'm not afraid of death. I'm not afraid of dying. What I'm afraid of, and I might get emotional about this because I always do, is leaving my kids and my grandkids. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm not so much afraid of it as more so being sad about it. Because I hope that I live to be in my 90s where I can see my grandkids grow up and see what kind of neat little people they grow into. That's what bothers me about dying. On another side of that coin, I'm at peace with it because that means that I will be with my parents again. So I'm at peace with that portion of it. But I'm sad, as you can tell, with the thought of leaving my kids and my grandkids one day. That's the sad part. Oh, sorry. My kids and my grandkids mean the world to me. So they're my life, and they are why I try to push so hard to live my best life. When you live with this, you lose a lot. You lose a lot of who you were. You lose a lot of making those memories, because number one, if we don't have pictures, we don't remember. There's a lot of my childhood that I don't remember. There's a lot of my children's childhood that I don't remember. There's a lot of, I don't remember what I did 3 weeks ago. I don't remember what I did a month ago. I'm lucky if I remember what I did 3 days ago. I mean, it's frustrating. It's scary. It's aggravating. And on top of everything else that we have to deal with ignorance and cruel people. And we shouldn't have to. No one should have to. But we need your help. We need to get the awareness out there. If you see us sharing post, we invite you to share that post. If you would like to become a member of our community, again, you don't have to be living with it. Our community is both supporter and warrior. Ask a few questions and you could be a member. and hang out in our community and see what it is we do there, and just support. You don't have to know anybody. None of us have to be a member of your family for you to support us. When I created the community, I didn't create it for myself. I created it to help others like myself. And it was the scariest thing I ever did. Because like I said, I had no idea where this was going to go. I had no idea how it was going to be received. I already dealt with cruel words and eye rolls and just nonsense already that I shut down, and I didn't talk about this for many years. And I dealt with it by myself until one day I was like, no, I'm not going to be quiet anymore. It's just unbelievable how this disease has been here for so many years, over 100 years, and we're still not even close to having a cure for this disgusting disease. We've lost a lot of warriors because of it. And it's sad. It's sad that so many are living with this in silence. It's sad that so many are suffering in silence. It's sad that so many have to deal with it on their own and don't have support from their family or friends. I have warriors that their spouses don't support them. So I don't understand what happened. I don't understand why people are so unsupportive. I don't understand why people prefer to live in a negative, ugly, mean world. I don't get that. It's not my world that I want to live in, and I try every day not to live in it. I want to live in a happy, positive, peaceful world. And a world where others that are disabled, that are living with a disability, aren't turned away, aren't shunned away, aren't told to be quiet, aren't told to shut up because you're making more than what it is. It's disgusting to me. And again, we need your help. Anyone that knows me will tell you, I don't ask for help. But I am now. I am asking for your help. I am asking that you help spread awareness, that you help us spread awareness. If you see myself, if you see Christy or any of my warriors sharing posts on Facebook or on any other platform, please share those posts. By you sharing our post, it's getting awareness out there. We're asking you to ask questions. We want you to ask questions, because that is the only way that it's going to change. That is the only way that anyone learns what it is their loved one is living with. To understand it, you've got to ask questions. Miss Christy, I hate to hear, at least you don't... Oh, my phone's... Am I lagging at that end? At least you don't got cancer. It's hard for us because we don't have treatment like cancer does. Yeah. You know, and that's the thing too. I don't understand and Christy's not the one that she refers to it a lot, but I've heard it before she's even said anything. we get compared to cancer all the time. I don't know why. We're not cancer, okay? Trust me. My mother passed from lung and brain cancer. Everybody on my mother's side has passed away. My aunts, my uncle passed away from cancer of some kind. My grandparents, cancer of some kind. There's cancer on my dad's side of the family. So I don't understand why we keep getting compared to cancer, but that has been said to us. What people do, and I think too, Christy, this is where the ignorance of not asking, the ignorance of not, if you are going to make that type of comment, you probably should know that with our disease, there is no cure. We are living with an incurable. That's what incurable means. No cure. Okay? That is what that word means. So if anyone's getting confused by it, we live with an incurable disease. There's no cure for this disease. I cannot think, admit, I could be wrong, but off the top of my head, I cannot think of a disease on this planet where there is not a cure or some sort of treatment that leads up to a cure. There isn't one for us. The treatments I get, that's not curing my disease. That's making it bearable for me to live. So I don't know why they compare us to a disease that has a cure or has treatments that puts that disease into a remission, because we don't even have that. There is no cure for us. And I take that back. There's no cure for MS. I know there's treatments for it. Parkinson's, I know they're working on treatments and cures for that. But us, there's nothing. They've come up with treatments that makes it bearable to live, to get through a couple of weeks or a couple of months. That's it. We are on constant medications on top of the treatments that we get. And we don't discuss medications, so there will be no names being thrown. And if there are comments later on where anyone's talking about medications, they will be removed. We don't discuss medications because of two reasons. HIPAA laws, and Facebook doesn't allow it. And it's someone's personal, private stuff. No one needs to know what they're taking. But we do. We get compared to cancer a lot. And I don't know why. I don't understand why we get compared to that. I think it was either my therapist or my doctor. I had made a comment about how we get compared to that, and they were dumbfounded. They couldn't understand why people keep throwing that out there like that. So if you have either behind our back or to our face, please stop. Because we're not cancer. We're nothing like cancer. Please stop. Stop doing that. It's an insult to both parties. It's an insult to people who has had cancer, and it's an insult to us because that's not what we have, nor is that what we're like. This is the thing too, is CRPS is in a lane of its own. It is in its own little ball field of its own. It's on its own planet. There is nothing. The thing is too, it can mimic Parkinson's, it can mimic MS, it can mimic lupus, it can mimic fibromyalgia, but we're none of those. There are certain symptoms that are either similar or mimic one of what I just rambled off. Like there are certain things, because I know if you look up symptoms of certain things, those 4 things, and then if you did your research with CRPS, you will see that sometimes we do share a symptom or 2, but we are on a planet of our own. Because with CRPS, Christy, how many symptoms, I don't know if you're still here, dear, how many symptoms, well, I can't even say that because we don't even know. But right now, I live with, and I know I'm going to probably miscount, so don't quote, okay? I'm rabbit earing this. I probably have about 15 to 20 different symptoms that I live with right now. And the thing is, I'm sure there'll be more, because there are so many different things that CRPS does to the human body, mind. It affects everything about us, inside and out. Yes, pain is a huge factor. And if you're wondering if I'm in pain right now while I'm talking to you, yes. But our pain tolerance has had to be greater than the average bear. Weather plays a huge part, and today it's been cold and raining all day. I think fall's finally arrived, to be quite honest with you, because we've been so spoiled with the summer. I think today's like the first days actually really felt like fall. But there's a lot that plays in the factor of this horrible disease. It's not just, I mentioned, I don't want to go into all of the symptoms, but I mentioned the memory and the brain fog and the speech, but it also messes with our senses, meaning our sound, sight, smell, taste. We are hypersensitive, so you cannot touch us. I'm going to have a shirt made up that says, look, but don't touch, please, or don't touch me, or something along those lines. I'm hopefully soon going to be able to get my merch going like I've been wanting to for the past 3 years. But we're hypersensitive. Like everything that touches us, everything that we sit on, everything that we wear, it's a whole messed up, tangled up bundle of yarn. So I have other health problems now because of the CRPS. I now have scoliosis. I have deterioration discs in my neck, along with bone spurs and other fun things. If anyone ever has had scoliosis, and it could be because I have CRPS, but I have been told by a couple people that the scoliosis isn't painful. I'm sorry? Yes, it is. Mine's in my lower back because of the way I walk. I have a deformity. Some of us have deformities because of the CRPS. CRPS can cause deformities. We have had warriors have amputation because the limb just died, and they had other complications, so they had it amputated. And so it affects us from our head to our toe, inside and out. Everything about the human body is affected by CRPS. So when you get upset because you think we don't care, or we're not texting, or we're not reaching out, or we're not calling, or what have you, we have enough going on already that is unnecessary or needed. okay? I actually made a comment to somebody about living in my body for an hour. They had the audacity to tell me they could do it. I never wish bad on anyone, but for that split second, I prayed that I had the ability to do so. Just for an hour, and then I'll take it back. You could not begin to understand what it's like to live in a CRPS body. In your worst nightmares, you could not begin to understand. And this is why we need awareness. This is why we need questions, so we don't hear ignorancy like that ever again. That is probably one of the cruelest things that has been said to me in the past 12 years. It wasn't the words so much as how it was said. So again, I am asking you, all of my warriors are asking you. They're probably thinking, we had a Sunday sit down, where is she? It's over here, guys. Not in our community today. But I am asking you, all of my warriors are asking you, we please, 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 please need your help. We need to get the awareness out there. The world needs to learn what it is, because it's just as important as cancer. It's just as important as any of the other diseases and disorders I mentioned. We are important too. We deserve a voice. We deserve awareness. We deserve understanding, empathy, compassion. We are in internal war with ourselves every single day. Our body is fighting itself every single day. There's no break. There's no vacation. There's no holiday. We are in battle with ourselves every single day. Do you know what that's like? To be in a body that is in war with itself? It's horrific. Nobody should have to live like this. And we need awareness. We need your help. And I'm not going to stop. Christy's not going to stop. I will not stop living my life's purpose until I no longer have a life to live. I will continue every day to post about it, to talk about it, to share my story. Because it deserves to be heard. And who knows, one day my story could help somebody. One day Christy's story could help somebody, and so on. For you that have joined our community, for you that have taken the time to check on us, to ask questions, to be a supporter, I want to say a huge thank you. It's people like you that are helping us. It's baby steps, but I know one day I will not have to do this. Or maybe in the future, our future warriors, pray to God there is no future warriors, but if there is, hopefully they will have the awareness. They will have the treatment. They will have the cure. If I don't make a difference while I'm breathing, my one wish and prayer is when I'm gone, that all of the time I put in, all of the videos that I've done, all of the awareness I put out there will somehow, somewhere make a difference. But I'm going to go. I love you all. I'm wishing all of my warriors out there an LPN. And for you that don't know what that is, it's a low pain night. I'm sending all of my warriors gentle hugs. For the rest of you, I'm wishing you a great, great night, sweet dreams, and please help us get awareness out. We need your help. We need change, and it needs to be today. Until then, ciao for now. Bye.